My name is Judge Jim Gray. I am a retired judge from the Orange County Superior Court. Actually, I am close to celebrating my 20th anniversary. On April the 8th of this coming year, I will celebrate 20 years of speaking out against our nation's failed and hopeless policy of drug prohibition. So I'm here today to talk to you about whatever you would like to talk with, because I know pretty much all of you agree with us in what we're doing here, but I also want to discuss with you salvation. Our benefit is on the way, because there is an initiative that we are in the process of getting on the ballot in November of 2012 here in California. It's called Regulate Marijuana Like Wine. Regulate Marijuana Like Wine, and it is truly the salvation for medical marijuana clinics. In fact, please sign the initiative to regulate marijuana like wine if you are registered to vote here anywhere in California. Why is this not working? You know something? Today, marijuana is the largest cash crop in the state of California. And number two is grapes, by the way, so you get that understanding out there. And we are funneling amazing amounts of money into juvenile gangs, into Mexican drug cartels, into a lot of thugs. And we could take that money and use it profitably. We could use it to fix our roads. We could use it to pay our firefighters. We could use it to regulate much better the medical marijuana community and have this safe and safer for our patients. And that is critically important. You know, when I was on the bench, and I was on the bench here in California in Orange County as a Superior Court judge for 25 years, there was a couple of times, in fact, I was talking about this just a few minutes ago, in which I sentenced some young men. I think there were 4 of them for being under the influence of methamphetamines, and there is a mandatory minimum sentence of 90 days, so everybody knew I wasn't going to give more than that, and I certainly couldn't give less than that, so the sentence was clear. I was going to have to give them under Section 11550 of the Health and Safety Code a sentence of 90 days in jail. So at time of sentencing, however, they have the right to make a statement if they wish, which is a good thing. And they told me, you know, Your Honor, my drug of choice is marijuana. And for years, I've been buying my marijuana from the same distributor, the same supplier. And one fine day, unbeknownst to me, the guy who'd been selling me this marijuana for so long sold me some marijuana laced with methamphetamines. I smoked it a few times, got myself hooked, and that's why I was using methamphetamines. And I thought to myself, you know, wait a minute. That's a problem that we can and must address. When we had that problem before, when alcohol was illegal, we had what we call the bathtub gin problems. Remember the impurities? You'd have people that would die, that attack their nervous system, be in a coma, or the rest of that. These are problems that we can, should, and must address. So I am doing what I can to talk about these issues, and you should too. Once again, we do have this petition that will be on the ballot November 2012, Regulate Marijuana Like Wine. We have some over here at the normal booth, as well as a few other booths around here. What will this do for the medical marijuana dispensaries? Well, you know, honestly, there are some people that are concerned about this, and they have some reason to be. I'm speaking candidly, because anyone in economics will say that they are concerned about their own market share. They're concerned about their being able to have their customers. And they're concerned that if we were to regulate and control this, that you'd have some bigger operations that would reduce the price. And you know what would happen? They're right. But also understand that today we have some huge wineries. Robert Mondavi, I mean, they're enormous. But nevertheless, we still have a lot of boutique wineries that are doing really well, thank you very much, because people are connoisseurs with wine. They don't want just whatever Robert Mondavi might have. They want something that their neighborhood winery would make. They're connoisseurs. They want something, and it'll be the same thing with regard to marijuana. Now, honestly, I've never used marijuana. I'm not interested in using marijuana unless maybe a medical doctor would recommend it for me. But I know that there are different strains, different types of marijuana that people want. And the big-time folks, be it, you know, the pharmaceutical industry or whatever, they're going to get out in big time, yes, but there's still going to be a market for the boutiques. And if you are actually servicing your clients well, your customers will stay with you. So I'm not all that concerned about it. It will certainly be an adjustment, but imagine the benefit of not having to be worried about your landlord having his property forfeited. You know, the federal government, if they believe, and they're right, the Supremacy Clause, it is illegal. If I were to stand here right this minute with a marijuana cigarette, that's a violation of federal law, no question about it. And if they want to enforce federal law, fine, let them prosecute me, but let me have a jury of my peers. And that's what the federal government is not doing today with regard to medical marijuana, and I say shame on them. Talk about hypocrisy, you know, they are now using the IRS, as you're probably aware, to take away the business exemptions and your taxes. Nonsense. You know, that is certainly not anything of integrity. Talking about your landlords and forfeiting their property, taking your bank accounts, all that stuff behind the door. No, let them do it, and let them do it directly. And that's what I say. But regulate marijuana like wine will accomplish that. By the way, regulate marijuana like wine says it would legalize, in effect, regulate and distribute the recreational usage of marijuana. It will not change laws with regard to driving under the influence. It will not change being impaired in public or in the workplace. It will not change furnishing to minors, anyone under the age of 21. All those laws stay in place. No commercial advertising for recreational marijuana. None. It's a part of the initiative. However, it still allows commercial advertising for Prop 215 for medical marijuana, as well it should. It still allows commercial advertising for hemp. You know, and I'm sure everyone here knows the benefits of the hemp industry. Well, we draw the distinction. It's 0.3% THC or less. That is not marijuana. According to the initiative, that's hemp. And hemp will be managed and regulated the same way as the cotton industry, for heaven's sake. Why not? You could get as much of a jolt from that as you could the smoke and the paper that's in your hands. You know, there's nothing to that. Today, you're probably aware that it is a $1 billion export from that radical country called Canada, where they export $1 million worth of raw hemp products into our country. We're cheating our own manufacturers, our own growers, our own customers. Why should we have that allowed? That's really downright stupid. Regulate marijuana like wine will legalize the hemp industry. Treat it just like cotton. As far as marijuana above 0.3%, be treated just like wine. It is going to be regulated and controlled by the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board, just like wine. And could it be sold? Yes. Same thing. How? Answer to most questions that anybody would ask with regard to the initiative is, how is it done with wine? That's how it would be done with marijuana. It makes perfect sense. I have been in the criminal justice system for most of my professional life. I have seen where what we're doing isn't working. In fact, wherever I go, pretty much, I ask the question, how many of you believe that we're in better shape today than we were 5 years ago with regard to this critical issue of drug abuse and all the crime and misery that goes with it? Anybody here? Of course not. Not only you, it's any religious group that I speak with, educational, university, service club, religious group, it doesn't matter. We all realize what we're doing isn't working. What's the first conclusion after you come to that realization? And it seems to me that we have no legitimate expectation of being in better shape next year than we're in today, unless we change our approach. Well, that doesn't sound like all that radical an idea. So what should we do? Let's look around and see what we have done for the last 5, 10, 50, 100 years that has worked and not worked, and rather sensibly start gravitating over toward what works. What works? Education. What works? Treatment and prevention. What works? Addressing the financial, the economic interests. And what works? Individual responsibility.